Basahin po natin chapter 22 verse 1. Are you ready? Say amen. Amen. Numbers chapter 22. Ready, read. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab on this side Jordan by Jericho. And Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was sore afraid of the people because they were many. And Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, Now shall this company lick up all that are around about us, as the ox licketh up the grass of the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at that time. And he sent messengers therefore unto Balaam the son of Beor to Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, Behold, there is a people come out from Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed. And the elders of Moab, the elders of Midian, departed with the rewards of divination in their hand, and they came unto Balaam, spake unto him the words of Balak. So madaling sabi, alam na po natin ang nangyari. May mga Amorites, si Sihon, king of the Amorites, si Og, king of Bashan. Parehas po yan. Those sides, siyempre bago po makaangat ng Bashan, I think, ay nauna po si Sihon, yung pong hari sa south, at pinatay po ito nila Joshua at ng army of Israel. At next na bansa po na kanilang dadaanan ay Moab. Ang Moab po, mga mahal kong kapatid, ay mas maliit sa Amorites. Mas konti ang kanilang tao. Kaya nagulat itong king of Moab. Kaya sabi ni Balak, na king of Moab, kung wala na tayong pag-asa, pumunta na tayo, magpadasal na tayo kay Balaam. So that he would curse. Para soothsayer siya. So siya yung sumusumpa doon sa mga tao. He could be a preacher, maybe, hindi natin alam. Siya yung nagsasabi ng mga curse. Pero ang malinaw po dito, you can find him just telling the Word of God. Parang nagsasalita siya ng Word of God. Pero mamaya mapapatunayan po natin sa ending ng ating lesson na siya po ay kasumpa-sumpa sa Diyos at siya ay nagkasala. O samahan niyo po ako, mag-aaral po tayo ng ating mga Bible. Numbers chapter 22. Are you there? Sige po, basahin po natin sa verse number 9. And God came unto Balaam and said, What men are these with thee? And Balaam said unto God, Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, Behold, there is a people come out of Egypt, which cover the face of the earth. Come now, curse me them. Peradventure I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out. And God said unto Balaam, Thou shalt not go with them, thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose up in the morning and said unto the princes of Balak, Get you into your land, for the Lord refuseth to give me leave to go with you. And the princes of Moab rose up, they went unto Balak, and said, Balaam refuseth to come with us. And Balak sent yet again princes more, and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam, verse 16 na po tayo. And they came to Balaam and said to him, Thus saith Balak the son of Zippor, Let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me. For I will promote thee unto very great honor, and I will do whatsoever thou sayest unto me. Come therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, If Balak would give me his house, full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God, to do less or more. Now therefore I pray you, tarry ye also here this night, that I may know what the Lord will say unto me more. So parang si Balaam ay Kristiyano, ligtas, Kasi sinasabi niya, hintayin niya muna ang Diyos, Verse 20, let's go forward. And God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, If the men come to call thee, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto thee, that shalt thou do. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass and went with the princes of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the way, for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his 2 servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself onto the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. So nagpapaluan, ayaw forward, kasi hinarangan ng angel of the Lord. When the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself onto the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. So nagpapaluan, ayaw forward, kasi hinarangan ng angel of the Lord. And the angel of the Lord went further, and stood in a narrow place, where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and smote the ass with a staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee? Thou hast smitten me these 3 times. Nagsalita yung ass mo. Nagreklamo na siya, siguro sumigaw, aray, ang sakit na yung palo mo. At siyempre, di ba? And Balaam knew what's happening. And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me. Ginagawa mo akong fool, sabi ni Balaam. I would there were a sword in my hand. Gusto ko nga, espada na lang para patayin na lang kita. For now would I kill thee, sabi niya sa asno. And verse number 30, And the ass said unto Balaam, Am not I thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, Nay. Nagmakaawa, sabi ko, papatayin na lang kita eh. Di ba, tagal mo na nga akong... So, nakipag-deal pa yung asno. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword is drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. No matter how much Balaam would look righteous in the story as we are reading, God knows the heart of every person. And here you find God knowing the heart of Balaam, which is perverse before Him. Alam ng Diyos na si Balaam ay natutokso na rin doon sa sasahurin niya at ibibigay sa kanya ni Balak. Masama ang balak ni Balak. Okay? And then verse 33, And the ass saw me and turned from me these 3 times, unless she had turned from me. Surely now also I had slain thee and saved her alive. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned. He admitted it. For I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back again. And the angel of the Lord said unto Balaam, Go with the men, but only the word that I shall speak unto thee, that thou shalt speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him unto a city of Moab, which is in the border of Arnon, which is in the utmost coast. Verse number 37. Basahin po natin. Samahan nyo nga po ako, ready, read. And Balak said unto Balaam, Did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Wherefore camest thou not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said unto Balak, Lo, I am come unto thee. Have I now any power at all to say anything? The word that God putteth in my mouth, that shall I speak. And Balaam went with Balak, and they came unto Kirjath-Huzoth. And Balak offered oxen and sheep, and sent to Balaam, and to the princes that were with him. And it came to pass on the morrow that Balak took Balaam, and brought him up into the high places of Baal, that hence he might see the utmost part of the people. So it was really indeed a plan of Balaam to curse. But the problem of Balaam is one thing. Every time he would curse the people, God would turn the cursing into a blessing. Okay, how did it happen? Let's move forward. Chapter number 23. Chapter number 23. Nag-uusapan po natin, malapit na sa promised land ng Israel. Malapit na po silang umakyat. And the country before Israel on the south was Moab. They already defeated the Amorites that were led by a good king, a great king, Sihon. Patay na po. So ito naman, ang next na po nila ay papasok na sila sa promised land. But Moab hated it. Moab wanted dead. Moab wanted the people to suffer because he was afraid. And so Balak, the king of Moab, hired Balaam. Si Balak po, yung hari ng Moab, binayaran si Balaam. Si Balaam, gusto niyang balaan ng Israel, gusto niyang isumpa, pero sa tuwing siya ay magsusumpa, pinapalitan po ng pagpapala ng Panginoon. Paano nangyari? Basahin po natin ang Numbers chapter 23. Handa na po ba kayo? Amen. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 oxen and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, stand by thy burnt offering, and I will go. Peradventure the Lord will come to meet me, and whatsoever he showeth me I will tell thee. And he went to an high place. And God met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared 7 altars, and I have offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. And the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth, and said, return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. And he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his parable, and said, Balak, the king of Moab, hath brought me from Aram, out of the mountains of the east, saying, come, curse me, Jacob, and come defy Israel. Verse 8. How shall I curse whom God hath not cursed? Or how shall I defy whom the Lord hath not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Verse 10. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. And Balak said unto Balaam, what hast thou done unto me? I took thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them altogether. Sabi niya, ano na naman? Ang gusto ko sumpa, bakit blessing ang pinagsasabi mo? They were trying hard, folks. I believe Balaam as well was trying hard to curse the people. And yet, God is turning the cursing into a blessing. And he answered and said, must I not take heed to speak that which the Lord hath put in my mouth? It was not me, he said, it is God putting it to my mouth. Verse number 13. And Balak said unto him, come, I pray thee, with me unto another place, from whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see but the utmost part of them, and shalt not see them all, and curse me them from thence. And he brought him unto the field of Sophim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bullock, and a ram on every altar. I tell you, Balak is trying hard, spending much, to get the curse. Verse 15. And he said unto Balak, stand here by thy burnt offering, while I meet the Lord yonder. And the Lord met Balaam, and put a word in his mouth, and said, go again unto Balak, and say thus. And when he came to him, behold, he stood by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. And Balak said unto him, what hath the Lord spoken? And he took up his parable, and said, rise up, Balak, and hear. Hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. And hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither hath he seen perverseness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. He had as it were the strength of an unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob. That means there is nothing, there is no enchantment, walang dasal, okay, walang kahit anong sumpa, neither is there any divination against Israel. I tell you folks, if God is for us, there is no kulam that can harm you. Okay? According to this time it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey, and drink of the blood of the slain. Balak said unto Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. Huwag ka na lang magsalita, kasi puro magaganda na lang sinasabi mo. But Balaam answered and said unto Balak, told not I thee, saying, all that the Lord speaketh, that I must do? Balak said to Balaam, come, I pray thee, I will bring thee unto another place. Peradventure it will please God that thou mayest curse me them from thence. And Balak brought Balaam unto the top of Peor, that looketh toward Jeshimon. Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, prepare me here 7 bullocks, 7 rams. Verse 30 po, and Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. May curse, pero hindi curse ang lumalabas. Puro blessing. Kaya lang ito naman si Balaam, sunod pa rin ang sunod. Kasi gusto sigurong mabayaran. Okay? Chapter 24. Ready, go. And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he went not, as at other times, to seek for enchantment, but he set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents, according to their tribes. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable, and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said, which heard the words of God, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel! As the valleys are they spread forth, as gardens by the riverside, as the trees of line aloes, which the Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seat shall be in many waters. And his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. Now, take note, this is not the Agag of 1 Samuel. Hindi pa uboy si Agag ng 1 Samuel dyan. It could be a mountain or a prominent person that time. Verse 8, God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. He shall eat up the nations his enemies, and shall break their bones, and pierce them through with arrows. He couched, he lay down as a lion, as a great lion, who shall steer him up. Verse number 9. Blessed is he that blesseth thee, and cursed is he that curseth thee. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together. And Balak said unto Balaam, I called thee to curse mine enemies. Behold, thou hast altogether blessed these 3 times. Therefore now flee thou to thy place. I thought to promote thee unto great honor, but lo, the Lord hath kept thee back from honor. And Balaam said unto Balak, spake I not also to thy messengers which thou sentest me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of the Lord, to do either good or bad my own mind. But what the Lord said, that will I speak. So he has his own mind. Maybe he was really trying hard to. But he was telling, sinabi ko naman kasi sa'yo, I was already telling you, hindi ko nga alam, bakit yung mga gusto kong i-curse, blessing ang lumalabas. Yun ang gustong ilagay ng Diyos sa aking bibig. Verse number 14. And now, behold, I go unto my people, come therefore, and I will advertise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. And he took up his parable, and said, Balaam the son of Beor hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said, which heard the words of God, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob. Nag-preach patuloy ito. Nag-prophesy patuloy siya. Star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Shem. And Edom shall be a possession, Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remain of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable, and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And he looked on the Kenites, took up his parable, and said, strong is thy dwelling place, and thou puttest thy nest in a rock. Nevertheless the Kenites shall be wasted, until Asher shall carry thee away captive. And he took up his parable, and said, alas, who shall live when God doeth this? Ships shall come from the coast of Chittim, shall afflict Asher, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever. And Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way. You see, they spend much of their money upon nothing, trying to curse a people whom God hath blessed. Now, let us study some verses as we end this study on what are the sins of Balaam. What are the sins of Balaam that God indeed hateth, that God indeed hates? Let us read some verses concerning Balaam. We will be reading certain verses. I will be starting on Deuteronomy chapter 23 verse 5. Buksan po ninyo sa inyong mga Bible, Deuteronomy 23:5. Anong kasalanan ni Balaam? Hindi naman niya na-curse. Hindi naman kasi hindi niya na-curse, kundi ayaw ng Diyos na-curse ang Israel. Kaya yung mga dasal niya, yung mga enchantments niya, baliwala kasi pinapalitan ng Panginoon ng preaching. Okay po? Tingnan po natin ang nangyari sa verse 5 ng Deuteronomy 23 verse 5. The Bible tells us, "Nevertheless, the Lord thy God would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord thy God turned the curse," you see that? "into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee." You see what God can do to a people? What was the sin of Balaam? Balaam's sin was in cursing God's people. In cursing God's people. The time was come for them to be cursed, but God has turned the curse into a blessing. So, sana maintindihan din natin ang lesson nito sa ating mga buhay. Kung ipagtatapat po natin ang buhay natin sa Diyos, at kung ang Diyos po ay ayos sa atin, hanggat hindi ho niya pinababayaan tayo, hanggat hindi niya ho hinahayaan makapasok ang isang bagay, kahit pakasumpa-sumpa, gagawin niyang pagpapala. It was proven throughout Scriptures, it was proven throughout the lives of many believers, it was proven throughout the history of Christianity, where cursing has to enter in and it became a blessing. Mapapatunayan po yan sa mga storya ng Biblia. Kung papaano yung mga pagkatalo, naging pagkapanalo. Kung papaano yung mga walang kakwenta-kwentang tao, mga naging great and mighty men. Kung papaano sa pamamagitan ng isang cross, which is a curse, nagkaroon ng blessing of salvation. Are you with me? There are times even in our personal life where we experience such things, that there are things that we can see as cursings, there are things that we can see as bad lucks, but actually, as you serve the Lord, such cursings are turned into blessing. Yung pong mga sumpa naging pagpapala. Kaya higit na dapat ikatakot ng mananampalataya, hindi sumpa, kundi yung malayo siya sa Panginoon. Kasi normal naman na matatakot tayo sa mga sumpa na pwede nating pagdaanan. Tama po? Maaari tayong matakot sa mga problema na pwede nating harapin. Maaari tayong magpatinag sa mga nakakatakot na bagay na pwede nating maharap. Kawalan ng pera at iba pang mga sumpa na anong sumpa ang kinakatakutan mo? Kanina binabasa ko yung Matthew chapter 6, yung mga anxiety natin, kung saan tayo natatakot, kung saan tayo mga nahihirapan. There are people who are trying to give up when anxieties come. May mga tao na gusto nang tumigil pag nagkaroon ng kasumpa-sumpang problema. At maraming ang tao iniiwasan ito eh. At ang nakakalungkot, kakaiwas natin, nandun pa rin yung kamalasan. Quote and quote. Yung kakaiwas natin sa problema, eto tayo, punong-puno ng problema. Okay? Kung titignan natin yung katotohanan dito, na ang sumpa, kayang gawin ng Diyos na pagpapala. So instead of you trying to cry to God on escaping such curse, why don't you just ask God to make that curse a blessing? You see, of course, nobody would dream to be cursed. Nobody would dream to experience a cursed life. And yet, such things can happen in our life. Sicknesses, pain, lackness, and everything. But the Bible tells us there is a God that we are serving that can turn a curse into a blessing. You see? So that's the sin of Balaam. Balaam was a soothsayer who wanted to curse God's people. But instead of being cursed, God is blessing the people of Israel. Amen? So that's the sin of Balaam. Verse number 5 of Micah chapter 6. Micah 6:5. Basahin ni Brother Heb malakas. So Balaam sinned. Anong kasalanan ni Balaam? He was to curse Israel, and yet God turned it otherwise.
Micah 6:5. O my people, remember now what Balaam king of Moab insulted, and what Balaam the son of Beor answered him from Shittim unto Gilgal, that ye may know the righteousness of the Lord.
Yeah, next, Brother Joel, 2 Peter chapter 2:15. Buksan po ninyo mga Bible ninyo. Hello po, Boticario family. Sister Mylene, good evening din sa iyo dyan. Sister Wilma, good evening din. Basahin po ninyo 2 Peter chapter 2:15. Babasahin po ni Preacher Joel. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 15.
Peter chapter 2,
Verse 15.
verse 15. Which
Tama.
have forsaken the right way and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Bosor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness.
Ayun naman pala. Isang kasalanan na lumilitaw po kay Balaam. Una, ano nga? Cursing God's people. Pangalawa, compromise. Compromise. Bakit? He loved the wages of unrighteousness. Gusto niya ng bayad na hindi makatwiran. He knew God Almighty. Alam niya ang Diyos na makapangyarihan. Kaya lang, ang nagtutulak sa kanya, nilinaw ng Bible sa 2 Peter na ang nagtutulak kay Balaam para pumunta pa rin kung saan siya papupuntahin ni Balak at doon susumbayin ng tao ay ang bayad. Tuloy umuwi siya, wala rin bayad. Alam niyo, pinatay pa siya ng Diyos. Naparusahan pa siya ng Panginoon, pinatay siya ng panahon ni Joshua, at makikita po natin dito, ang problema ni Balaam ay compromise. He compromises righteousness and faith with the wages of unrighteousness. Alam natin na yan din ang kinabigo ni Gehazi, yung pong alalay ni Elisha, na kung saan si Elisha ay hindi naman naniningil para po sa pagpapagaling sa Meketo, humabol itong si Gehazi o si Gehazi para manghingi, para ikompromiso ang kanyang pananampalataya. Yun po mga kapatid, na sana hindi po natin ipagpapalit ang katwiran. Hindi po, kasi kung meron mang isa sa talaga namang magandang barter, yung palit ba? Kasi maganda yung katwiran. Ano yung pagpapalit mo sa katwiran? Malaking halaga din. At yan, karamihan ang kinatatalo ng maraming mananampalataya. Na ang kanilang pananalig sa Diyos, ang kanilang paninindigan sa salita ng Diyos, natatakpan ng malaking halaga ng pananalapi. Yan po mga mahal kong kapatid, ang siyang magsisilbi rin ng nating aral. Oo, mahal natin ang Panginoon. Oo, mahal natin ang Diyos. At lalo tigit, minahal tayo ng Diyos. Pero darating talaga sa punto na ang tukso ay darating, na ang maikukompromiso natin ay ang ating paninindigan, ang ating pananampalataya, kapalit ng isang malaking halaga ng pananalapi. At kagaya ho ni Balaam, na una, wala rin namang nakuha. Sinabi naman ng Bible yan, he that findeth his life shall lose it, but he that loseth his life for my sake, the same shall find it. Darating talaga sa punto, nakakahanap at kakahanap mo, pinipilit mo, dinidiskardian mo, ginagawa mo ng paraan, to the point na itatakwil mo ang totoo at ang iyong pananampalataya. Yun naman ang mangyayari, mawawalan ka din. Hindi rin magiging masaya. Was Balaam's life a happy life? No, it was not. Why? Because he tried to gain from the unrighteous mammon. He loved the wages of unrighteousness. Minahal niya ang bayad na hindi makatwiran. Let us go away from the sin of Balaam in cursing the people, in compromising righteousness. And then, basahin na po natin yung huling mga talata, Jude 1:11.
Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward and perishing the gainsaying of God.
Next, by RJ, Revelation 2:14.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 14. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast dared them that follow the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balaam to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication.
Ayun, meron pa pala siyang ginawang isa pa. na ipinaliwanag sa Book of Revelation. Nabasa niyo po mga kapatid, Revelation chapter 2:14, Balaam casted a stumbling block before the children of Israel. Naggumawa siya ng paraan na lang para magkasala ang mga anak ng Diyos. Tinuruan niya si Balak. Tinuruan niya kung paano. Kompromiso. Alam niyo yung next chapter, pag-aaralan natin sa Sunday, paano sila na naman nahulog sa kasalanan. May kinalaman pala dito si Balaam. Ano ang sabi ng Revelation 2:14? But I have a few things against thee. Thou hast there that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel. How? To eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication, casting them a stumbling block. Ang kasalanan ni Balaam, tatlo. Ano yung unang-una? Curse. Pangalawa, compromise. Yung sahod ng unrighteousness, tatanggap siya ng pera para gumawa ng mali. At yung pangatlo, gumawa siya he cast a stumbling block. Naglagay siya ng paraan para magkasala ang mga anak ng Diyos. Tatlong kasalanan na makikita po nating malala na ginawa ni Balaam. Na kung parang binabasa natin yung tatlong chapter, parang wala naman siyang ginawa. Hindi pala. Parang wala lang siyang ginawa kasi nga ginawa ng paraan ng Diyos. Kaya parang walang ginagawang kasalanan si Balaam. Pero malinaw, nagkasama-sama ang lahat ng talata ng Bible. Simula pa sa Deuteronomy, Joshua, pagdating sa Nehemiah, sa Micah, 2 Peter, Jude, at pati sa Revelation. Malaki ang kasalanan ni Balaam. Ang unang-unang kasalanan niya, gusto niyang sumpain ang mga tao ng Diyos. Binago lang ng Diyos at ginawang pagpapala. Pangalawa, gusto niyang ikompromiso ang tama sa pamamagitan ng pagtanggap ng pera para gawin ang mali. Pangatlo, gumawa lang siya ng paraan kasi wala na siya magawang iba, kundi maglagay lang ng paraan para magkasala ang mga anak ng Diyos. Mag-ingat po tayo na malayo tayo sa doktrina ni Balaam na siyang magdadalaw sa atin para magkasala ang iba. Okay? Let us not be a stumbling block for other people, especially God's people, to sin against God. Amen? And so, that's the story of Balaam. Alam naman po natin na nangyari sa kanya at itutuloy naman po natin ang pag-aaral na yan sa Book of Deuteronomy and Joshua. Balaam died and was punished by God because of the sins that he committed in the children of Israel. Nasa Moab na po sila. Malapit na po silang umangat. Promised land na po. Okay po? So I hope and I pray na natuto po tayo ngayong gabi. 22, 23, and 24. Ayun, dito sila nag-commit ng harlotry sa chapter 25. Na yun yung sinasabi sa Revelation, to commit fornication. So folks, Numbers chapter 22 to 24, the sins of Balaam, ang mga kasalanan ni Balaam.